Greetings, loved ones. What makes people choose to abuse? There's no simple way to predict who will become an abuser. This week, we're focusing on profiles of an abuser and how you can recognize the signs of abuse. To help get these messages out, please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, hit that like button, and please share these messages with others because you never know, by doing so, you could save a life. Let's look at an alarming dichotomy for a second. Abusive partners inflict violence on an astounding 1.3 million women in the United States every year. If you add in rape and stalking to that number and count male victims as well, that statistic rises to more than 12 million people who have been victimized by their partner in the course of a year. At the same time, 2.5 million people are getting married each year, entering into what they believe will be the utmost happy and respectful partnership. While domestic violence can occur whether you're married or not, the statistics are still enough to make something very clear. Many people are signing up for domestic abuse and they have no idea. So what makes someone become an abusive partner? Juanito Vargas, Associate Vice President of Safe Horizon, which is a New York domestic violence nonprofit and the largest victim service agency in the United States, says it can be many things. It's very complicated, and it's definitely not a simple answer. His staff doesn't spend a lot of their energy trying to understand the abuser, but rather trying to help the survivors. Our concern, he says, is with the survivors. So there are some indicators that are worth paying attention to. Vargas acknowledges that the one thing advocates know for sure is that many abusers, when asked about their childhood, speak of either witnessing or experiencing violence in their own home. While studies and surveys on the topic report varied numbers, the Childhood Domestic Violence Association reports children who witnessed domestic violence in their childhood were 3 times more likely to commit domestic violence as adults. The association calls CDV, which is childhood domestic violence, the most significant predictor of domestic violence later in life. And Vargas says not everyone who has been exposed to childhood trauma or abuse will go on to abuse a partner. He says that other factors can play a role, such as society at large. He lists factors such as how we think of violence, how violence is aimed at women, how women are objectified as contributors to domestic violence. And this is also known as a rape culture. The normalizing of sexual violence that infiltrates our daily lives through movies, television, pop culture, and rhetoric many times without us even realizing it. One of the other things we see is the role that poverty plays in all of this, says Vargas. Studies have shown that a higher incidence of domestic violence within poorer communities. Poverty can lead to increased stress levels, exacerbating an existing violence problem. It's not the cause, but it can exacerbate it. Financial insecurity also makes it more difficult for survivors to find a way out of a relationship with an abuser. And many times abusers will blame their behavior on drinking or mental illness, but they cannot do this. Some survivors feel like their partner is abusive only when he or she is drinking, but advocates say that drinking should not be used as an excuse for domestic violence. The same goes for mental illness. Studies show that those who choose to abuse are more likely to suffer from a mental illness than those who don't. Nancy Erickson, an attorney and consultant on domestic violence legal issues, states that domestic abuse is a behavior, not a symptom of mental illness. So the question is, can an abuser choose not to abuse? So on the flip side, if an abuser can choose to abuse, would it make sense that he can choose not to? The question is commonly asked but doesn't have a simple answer, according to Emerge, the first counseling and education program to stop domestic violence in the United States. They say someone who truly wants to stop will work to do so. Someone who doesn't take such services seriously is at greater risk to re-offend. While one can learn to control their anger, abusive behavior may be so ingrained in a person that reform may not always be possible, says experts. Lundy Bancroft, author of Why Does He Do That? Inside the Minds of Angry and Controlling Men, offers up a list of changes that could indicate an abuser is making progress in his recovery. They include accepting responsibility, making amends, and demonstrating respectful behavior, among other things. But the bottom line, the why, isn't as important as the what now. If you find yourself trapped in a cycle of violence with a partner, it's never okay. It's never your fault. Find help now if you are with an abusive partner. With 1 in 3 women experiencing domestic violence worldwide, the question is not if you will encounter a victim of domestic violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice. And those who suffer violence, those who suffer abuse, they need to know that those who love them and those who don't even know them will step out and reach out to help them have the courage they need to leave before it's too late. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit that like button, and please share these messages with others, because you never know, just by doing so you could save a life. This series is dedicated in honor of Gabby Petito, a bright, young, beautiful young woman whom the world has lost because of gender violence. Please check out the foundation that her family has created in her honor at gabbypetitofoundation.org. If you're a victim of violence, listen to me now. I want you to know you are valued, you are loved, you are intelligent, you are beautiful. God does not want you to suffer violence. He wants you to live free from violence in peace and tranquility. And there is a way out. It's not your fault. Abuse is not love. If someone says they love you and then they abuse you, they are lying to you. If you're a victim of violence, reach out to somebody and get help. If you're in a dangerous situation, dial 911 and get the help that you need. Tomorrow, we're going to discuss the profiles of an abuser. So until then, God bless you.